welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's up?
Dude, we took a little tour, checked out the building, and then I'm excited for this because there's a lot of questions that I have because I've never seen this space before, literally in my life. So let's start with introductions, and then we'll jump right in.
Awesome.
What's up, man?
Jared White, 28 years old, owner of Mulino, founder and principal currently. So this is what we're about. All this is based around hair initially. I'm a barber by trade, and then I think just kind of went from there. Realized the amount of people that I saw week in, week out, and then ultimately just my wheels would start spinning on what more could we offer these patrons, clients that are more like family at the end of the day. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
What did you want to do anything before you started doing hair?
Honestly, no. I think I was just a young, dumb 18-year-old kid that didn't know what he wanted to do. I cut hair out of the house for quite some time. Friends, family, pretty much anybody that trusted me. And then Yeah. So I'm from a small town, actually. I'm from Gowanda, New York. So I graduated with about 112 people in my class.
Sure.
At the age of 18, 19, I think I moved up here to the big city of Buffalo. And then I guess just started to spread my wings there and just started to network and really just go from there, truthfully.
What was that first haircut like that you gave somebody? Were you super nervous? Like, I'm going to mess this person's hair up so bad.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. It was absolutely atrocious and probably nothing that I'd want to showcase today. I'd probably showcase to my team to show them how far I've came. Right. We have a lot of junior guys right now that have never touched hair before, but they have really good people skills, good leadership skills, and that's what I'm looking for right now. But I think they may come in now and work for take this step with Mulino, and they look at me like I'm, I don't know, maybe some hair god or something. I don't know, but I mean, we all started at the very ground level, and every haircut is going to be atrocious for anybody getting into this industry. So,
did you go to I don't even know what the curriculum is to get into hair and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's two ways you can actually become a master barber with New York State. One would be the more traditional route, would be an apprenticeship program. So basically, you're going to do an apprenticeship under a master barber. That's a 2-year program. I think the state calls for 40 hours a week, but more or less how it's structured right now with the state is it's from start to finish. So if you were to enroll today for the apprenticeship program, 2 years from today, you'd be able to take your state board. They're not really monitoring hours, so on and so forth.
What are the boards like? Because I'm most familiar with everybody taking their boards for the medical field. Yeah. It's this super stressful thing. So what is it like in this industry?
The boards, it's a practical, so it's a hands-on, It's honestly kind of bogus. Honestly, it truthfully is. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. I could spend right now probably the next 30 minutes with the two of you, and you could take your state board tomorrow, and you're going to pass with flying colors. It's more so for sanitation purposes. Sure. It's not about technique, the quality of the haircut. It's more so that you just know how to properly drape somebody. Mm-hmm. God forbid you cut somebody. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do with that razor? What are you going to do with that towel that's been contaminated? Or is it going to go in this bag or this bag? It's kind of common sense, honestly.
Okay, I gotcha.
So it's really focused more on the safety and not the actual haircut itself.
Correct, yeah.
So then the additional training, because I know there's classes that you can take for beards, and then there's also edging, and then fading. Where is all of that downstate in the actual big city?
So truthfully, all that's going to be based upon private entities just
hosting
a class,
more
or less.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no institutions that hey, we focus on this, we focus on that. Truthfully, I went the schooling route, so I actually went through the BOCES program, but that was more or less just to expedite my licensure with New York State. I ultimately knew if I wanted to be a good master barber that I was going to have to be, one, surround myself with a good team and learn from each other, and two, just, go home and just do my own due diligence on how to properly cut hair and the latest trends and styles.
That's crazy.
Truthfully, I have nothing good to say about the program as far as with the state, the apprentice. It is what it is, So here we are trying to elevate that for people that want to get into possibly this industry, but I guess we'll get into that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you can't, like, if you're an apprentice, you can't grind and work like 70 hours a week to potentially get there before the 2 years. You have to wait the 2 years. That's tough.
Yeah, but you know what it is? The apprenticeship program, you can actually operate as if you were a master barber without the title.
Oh, okay.
So you could enroll today. Let's just say the state approves everything immediately. You could start cutting hair tomorrow. Because you hold.
Could you
license. Imagine? Yeah, exactly. And I've seen it done before. You know what I mean? So you can. I personally like the apprenticeship program much more than the schooling route. The apprenticeship program, you're surrounded by fellow master barbers, right, that have been in the industry for months, years, decades, however long, right? But you're learning, and you're simultaneously building your book of business.
Sure.
So, once you're in the schooling program, you learn how to cut hair, and they put so much emphasis on the state board that, like I said, would take 30 minutes with you guys. You know what I mean? And it's state board, and then these younger barbers, aspiring barbers, are coming out of these programs, and they're okay. I'm licensed now. Where's everybody?
Right.
I can cut hair. Not fully understanding.
Yeah. The apprentice program builds the clients for that apprentice barber too, so that's nice. I mean, that's how I got introduced to you guys. You did your that post where you are saying basically anybody who wants to be cut by an apprentice barber, you can come in on Tuesdays and a master barber will watch over you. But it's such a cool environment, and we'll get into like why you chose that route of the actual setup of the business itself, because that's really what attracted me, to be honest. But so going back a little bit, what is the difference between like a hairdresser and a barber? Is there a difference between the two?
So the main difference between the two, right, is going to be a hairdresser or stylist can work with color. Okay. So they're licensed to do that. Work with various colors, hair dye, so on and so forth. Now, a master barber, the difference between the two is that a master barber cannot work with color, but we can use a straight razor. So that's the difference between color and a straight razor. So, I mean, I could be a stylist and do men's cuts, right? And technically, I'm not allowed to do work with a straight razor, but I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the straight razor. I think the straight razor is what gives barbers, like, that's what I want when I come to get my hair cut.
There's so much class to it, but it's terrifying.
You think so?
Dude, I got no experience with blades like that. Okay. You know what I mean? So he's got the beard. This is the most I got. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and basically take a scalpel to my chin. Right. Just be like, I got this. Yeah. Because what if I sneeze?
Do you go to a barber right now?
No, I have a woman cut my hair. Yeah. And to be honest, my hair is not difficult to cut, so it's not, and 9 times out of 10, I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah, 100%. And 9 times out of 10, it's a loyalty thing. She's probably been servicing you for how many years now?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
So when barbering first started, there was the straight razor. Mm-hmm. It wasn't disposable blades. It was, I don't even know what they're actually called, but then you strapped it or whatever.
Strapped it, yeah.
Why? I've heard a couple instances as to why they went the disposable route, but is there an actual reason behind it?
Efficiency, more or less. Yeah, I think a classic straight razor, you're going to have to spend some time disinfecting that. And if you're a high volume shop servicing people every half hour, every hour, or there's shops out there that are doing haircuts every 15 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So it just comes down to efficiency, I think.
Is that's new, right?
Relatively. I mean, it's.
Was it 5? Maybe 5 years?
Probably more than that, honestly. I've been cutting for over 10 years now. Professionally, within a shop, the last 8 years. Okay. So, I mean, it's been around. It's been a thing since I've professionally been in a shop operating. So,
interesting.
So, how did you go on to cutting hair? You start with friends and family. Mm-hmm. You mess up a couple friends and family. Yep. You stick with it, and then you come up to Buffalo, and now you have what we're in now, which to me is like the most bougie location to get a haircut in the world. And I walk in and I made fun of Derek because I'm like, you would go here. Like, what is this place? So it's just amazing.
To go off of that often frightens me sometimes. I often feel like our concept is...
It's too much?
Maybe for Buffalo. Right. I do feel that at times. Sure. People will walk by our establishment and they're glancing in. They're like, oh, what is this place? Can I come in? Can I not come in? Is it a club? You have to be a member here? So on and so forth. But I mean, yeah. So at times I do feel as if it may be a little much for Buffalo. But I think it might help with Buffalo evolving with the times. You know what I mean? So catch-22 sometimes in my head.
So let's explain to our listeners what is bougie about it.
Okay, picture yourself in New Jersey, and everybody cares about what they wear, how they look, and they're okay with basically getting a super unique experience. So you walk in, there's loud music, which is amazing, a bar, a full bar that has scotch, a pool table, lounge chairs.
A PS4 or something like that too, right?
Yeah, game consoles basically hooked up on a TV, huge windows so you can look outside and then basically laugh at people because they don't look as good as you anymore. Pretty, honestly, a really, really well lit space to get your hair and everything else worked on, which I think is key and very underrated in a lot of locations. But it's clean and it's really modern, so everything is streamlined. And then all the angles make sense for the space, but it's a really good, unique use of space. You're not wasting square footage. So, yeah, you basically walk into that, and you're like, can I get a haircut? And then they're like, do you have an appointment? It's like, who do I got to know to get a haircut here?
So why did you want to incorporate a bar and all this other stuff to your...
How does that even work?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope you guys cut this next part out, but so I was with a brand for the last... I was with a brand for a good period of time here, and learned a lot from this brand, good things and bad things, right? Very appreciative to this day for the things that I've learned there. But as time went on, I looked at my book of business, now in my peak of cutting hair right now, I guess going back. So I would operate 5 days out of the week. I would service upwards of 100 people a week, right? So I would look at these individuals that came in. One, I would try to grow a relationship with these people, cultivate those relationships, and then thereon I would go home, just my wheels would start spinning on what more could we offer these individuals to really solidify what we're doing as a community. You know what I mean? The wheels just started spinning, and I think at the time when we really started to brainstorm this idea and getting ready to kind of birth this being and this concept, I think there was 2 concepts that we found across the world that are doing kind of what we're doing with the bar.
So it does exist?
Calgary, and I think there's one, there might be 3 now I'm thinking of. So yeah, there's definitely one there. New York City, there's another one, a brand that started doing something similar. And then I want to say London too.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then we just went for it, honestly. We said, why wouldn't this work? We know people in Buffalo love to drink. We love sports, right? So, we 7-8 months out of the year, it's gloomy as ever, right? So, people are indulging into some fine beverages, if you will. So, we just kind of went for it and said, you know what? Let's just throw it at the wall and hopefully it sticks,
So, how did you start that process? There's got to be a form that you have to start with.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Going back to New York State. We're fully licensed for beer, wine, and liquor. So that was a pretty
which is an
process.
SLA, right?
Yep. So you're dealing with the SLA, State Liquor Authority. Basically, you're getting all your ducks in a row before you submit your application. Actually, I used a liquor expediting company. The owner of that company, his name is Bob. He formerly used to work at SLA, so he kind of knows the ins and outs.
Sure.
And right now, he's opened up a business to help smaller businesses, retrieve their license sooner and quicker than they would if they were just doing it by themselves, if you will.
Someone at that establishment had to be like, you're asking for this for a barbershop? That connection had to have been interesting for people because it doesn't exist, like you're saying. Except for London and New York City.
Yeah, so I guess leading up to, so basically it depends on the license that you're going to go for. So we went for the full shebang, right? So basically there's a 500-foot hearing, right? So any establishment within 500 feet of our establishment can go to this hearing and attest and say, you know what, I object. I don't want these guys coming into town. It's going to affect my business, so on and so forth. But I guess in this hearing, you're standing in front of a state liquor authority judge, if you will, and he or she is going to approve your case and kind of hear you out and what you're about and what you plan on doing for the community, what offerings you and your establishment have other than I guess, alcohol. But I mean, you have to deliver a full map of your space with every chair, every placement of everything within your establishment, present it to them. Okay, people are going to be drinking here. They could walk over here and have a drink as well, so on and so forth. You have to present to them a food menu. So within New York State, you have to be able to heat up food in your own establishment.
Oh, okay.
So you have to have food readily available in order to serve alcohol. So you may go to establishments, or you may have been in places before where there's popcorn in the corner or there's chips behind the bar. Those people are grandfathered in, so they're grandfathered into an old law. So every new space or new aspiring business that would like to obtain a liquor license, they have to be readily available to serve food. So you're probably sitting there questioning, what the hell do we serve for food, right?
Right.
So we did not want to make it extremely complex, because guys like yourself, we don't want you guys coming in and, I'm going to go down to the barbershop and have a panini. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. No, we did not want to do that. So I have a good friend of mine, client turned friend. He is the head chef at a local restaurant here in town, a really nice restaurant. And I would just constantly pick his brain. So basically, you need to heat something up in your own establishment, and you have to serve it on your plate. You can't order a pizza and then serve it on your plate. So that's exactly pretty much what you can't do and what you have to do. So we serve gourmet waffles. They're like these Belgian pearl sugar waffles. You guys ski at all? Snowboard?
Yeah, I used to.
Okay, so you're familiar with Holiday Valley?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the bottom of Mardi Gras, there's that Waffle Hut.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the waffles we're serving. Just a quick snack, something, light and easy. And obviously we're meeting state requirements, But you're not going to come here and get a steak.
Yes.
But dude, that's crazy. You can literally get a haircut, have a glass of Macallan, and have a waffle, and go home.
Go home, that's it.
That's
You don't have to
insane.
order the food, though, but it's available.
Right.
I've heard of people going against the state in a roundabout way where they do a hot bologna sandwich, but it's a $75 bologna sandwich. So we have it. Are you going to spend it?
Sure.
See what I'm saying? So,
I can see
so
that.
I mean, there's numerous ways you could work it, but
I don't know.
We weren't looking to.
I don't know if bologna can ever be worth $75.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I think that was their way of just keeping, a small stack of it and, not having the overhead.
So it had to be heated up too, like it couldn't be cold cuts or anything like that?
No.
Wow.
Well, it's so great, right?
Yeah.
So it's always forever changing. So I think you have to have a few items that are at least you're able to heat up and serve, right? So we serve waffles, right? So we could do a cold cut if we wanted to, because we do have an item that we have to heat up and serve to you.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, a cold cut would not suffice.
Wow.
If that's the only item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get through that hearing, it's approved, and then community business owners are like, all right, this is, I guess, the new thing that's going in around the corner.
Right.
So we'll check this out. So were you alone with your book of business when you first walked into the space, or did you already have kind of like a team moving in with you?
Yeah, I had a team.
Okay.
I think everything I do to this day is very, very calculated. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that if I don't know the answers to something, I know the people that have those answers. And that just goes back to my book of business for my years of cutting, creating those relationships and cultivating those relationships. So, but yeah, we had a team together in place, ready to go.
Did you poach barbers poach kind of sounds like a bad term, but did you request people to come and work for you, other barbers around the area, or how did you form your first set of barbers that worked for you?
Yeah, so the former brand that I was at, I actually hired 2 guys over there that came on under me. So when we parted ways, it was a no-brainer. These guys were coming with me. And then I knew some other individuals that were in the industry. We had a good relationship, and once they heard about the concept and where we were going to be placed downtown, I think they came in, looked at it, and said, "Why not? Let's do it. I believe in the vision. I believe in your work." And yeah, so we had a good team to start off, and we have 7 chairs here. So this was our first shop.
Yep.
So it's a 7-chair barber shop. I think at first there was 4 or 5 chairs that were taken up, and I kept 2 chairs vacant for quite some time. The reason being is that I was looking for the most perfect fit of people to represent Il Mulino. There's a lot of good barbers, right? And maybe some of those good barbers aren't so much good people.
Sure.
So more or less, it's always been my motto for Il Mulino is that we want to hire good people. Mm-hmm. And if you're not a good barber, I will teach you how to cut really good hair and you'll be a good barber. But being a good person comes first.
I like that.
Yeah.
So do you specialize, in your opinion, do you think that you specialize in one or two things that you're like, okay, this is, I can actually fix this? So if somebody's trying to replicate something that you can do and they butcher it and you got to like save the cut, whether that's happened early on or not, or if you just look at your entire toolbox and you're just like, these are on lock forever. Like I'll never have an issue with these one or two things. Like what are those?
Tools, probably my shears. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, these shears that once you get to a higher grade, higher quality shear, I mean, these things are going to run you into the thousands, and you're going to have them forever.
Okay.
So I mean, these will be passed along to somebody, like kids maybe, or somebody else that takes over Il Mulino one day. But yeah, I mean, I'll have these forever. But as far as a haircut, is there any haircut that I wouldn't be able to save? Was that your question? Mm-hmm. I'm sure, yeah, but I don't think we've seen that yet. As Derek said, on Tuesdays we do this free cuts for clients, and it helps out the clients, helps out the apprentices. I am pretty much there the entire time. Now I'm not breathing down that apprentice's neck.
Sure.
But I'm around, so you need me, because that just applies the pressure, right? They're working on somebody new. They've never cut their hair before. It's maybe a new style, or maybe a new consistency of hair texture, so on and so forth, right? So that already in itself is nerve-wracking. Then you're having the headmaster barber breathing down your neck, watching every move. You know what I mean? Right. So I always teach the guys, if you ever come to a troublesome area, call me or one of the fellow master barbers, and we'll correct it ASAP.
Yeah, just like stop.
Yeah, just stop it, or go do something that you know what to do on the next step.
I feel like colics are very tricky, and I get stressed out because I know that I have a bad colic in the back of my head that never lays down. So whenever I go to a new barber, I'm like, listen, this is a problem area. Like you have to. I'm letting you know right now.
Yeah. So I mean, naturally, they are very troublesome. It's just a matter of learning how to handle that part of the head. So everybody has a colic, right? So some people have one colic, some people have two colics. And placement on the head is different. So it could be center, right, left, or they can meet in the middle, and there could be two, right? So I don't... Yeah, I guess they're tricky for some. And I think, exactly what you just said, it sticks up, it goes all over the place. So if I had to guess, you probably went to an establishment before and they didn't know how to handle your colic, so they just cut it off. So when it's cut off and it's that short, it has nowhere to go besides up. So that's what you're saying when it goes all over the place. It gets springy, this and that. So if there's more weight there, or if there's more length, which will cause more weight, which will then cause it to lay down. So each colic grows either clockwise or counterclockwise. So it's just a matter of combing it in that direction.
Sure.
But everybody has a colic and they all suck. But
yeah. Well, even beards have colics, right?
Yeah, you can. Down here in the lower part of your neck, yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's stressful, man. Because then when you shave that, you're more prone to like cut yourself that area, right? Because the hair follicles are
they're going in like a circle. Yeah. So there's a risk there or a chance there that you could, I guess, snag one of your pores, and
super fun with the straight razor.
So well then who the hell cuts your hair?
I got a few guys within the brand.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Honestly though, I'm more picky with my clients' hair than I am with my own hair. I have like months worth of growth under this hat right now. But honestly, I've had a few of my apprentices cut my hair or do certain things. Maybe not cut my entire head. And now I understand it may not be the best haircut I've ever received, right? But I understand I'm helping them out immensely because now they're cutting the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it helps with their nerves, and if they can cut me, then hopefully they can cut anybody that walks in. So.
What about your beard? Do you do your own beard too?
Nobody touches my beard. That's me.
Hell yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a pride thing, man. It's a pride thing. Last time I was here, he's like, "You want me to touch the beard?" I'm like, "I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I gotta do it myself."
Mm-hmm. I would tell him do whatever the hell you want. I don't know.
So you started with this Washington place is the the original, and this is kind of your flagship. When did you decide that you wanted to start branching out and opening different places? Because you don't really see that much with barbershops in the area that they want to go out.
I think early on we knew that we wanted to really grow and expand, because I feel like we have the recipe in-house that would really help us grow and really go up against some of the best barbershops known in Buffalo today, right? But I think we acquired our second shop right around the same time as this shop, which we didn't really announce right away, because we wanted this one to really showcase who we are as Il Mulino, right? But that shop would be our Lewiston Youngstown location. So it's actually in Youngstown, New York. I always say Lewiston. A lot of people don't know where Youngstown is, and I find myself in this 5-minute conversation describing where Youngstown is. But yeah, so basically there was a property owner up there that owned a building with a barbershop that was there since like 1964.
Okay.
And this barber was in there for pretty much the duration of his life, more or less, right? So this barber, the most recent barber that was in there, I think this goes back to 2018. Yeah, 2018 it was. The poor guy kind of had a sudden death. He was like on blood thinners. He cut his leg open. And
Jesus.
So long story short, this property owner was very adamant on keeping it a barbershop because it was very near and dear to him. And I think we acquired it in 2018. It was vacant for like a year or two prior to that.
Okay.
But he kept it vacant because he wanted the perfect fit to be in there.
Sure.
And at first, I think we were kind of hesitant to really look at the space, being that it's an hour away from here.
Right.
True.
Lake Ontario, right? But the more we learned about the shop, learned about the details of the shop, and we took a look at it, and honestly, it was a no-brainer. So
that's cool.
How many seats are up there?
2, but I mean, there's room for 4 in total if we wanted to do it with that space. I mean, we have the market cornered up there. So, I mean, from Wilson on and like Lewiston up, I mean, they kind of have to come to us.
That's awesome.
There are salons in Lewiston, right? So, if people go to a salon. But yeah, so.
This is crazy. So that was basically purchased, for lack of better terms?
Yeah, more or less.
Acquired.
Yeah.
It was acquired by the team at the same time as this. You built this, dug roots, and then started to basically build up there, grew that out.
Yep.
So then you got the third location?
Yeah. Keep in mind, though, the Youngstown location was turnkey. I mean, it's been a barbershop since 1964. So when we acquired it, we said, you know what? We're going to keep it for what it is. And the landlord was super accommodating with us. He just wanted to have good people in there, a good brand in there. So we were in there it was a pretty sweet deal, right?
Yeah.
And then we solidified things on months later. But, it was turnkey, and we said, we're going to keep it what it is. We'll have discussions down the road on updating it to, what we want Il Mulino to be, But yeah, then the third actually would be Williamsville. Yeah, kind of a really, really cool space, and it kind of circles back. So actually, 2 storefronts down, I started at this barbershop that was 2 storefronts down.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this gentleman is still there. He owns the shop. He's in his late 70s, early 80s. No offense to him, man. He's just he owns the building, he owns property, and it's been in the family, so it's his, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I would keep in contact with the shop owner since we left. So when I say since it was the former brand that I was with.
Sure.
And kept in contact with him over the years, just to pay my respects and pay homage to him and just giving me my start, because I really, a kid from Gowanda cutting hair out of his mother's garage. Now I'm cutting in Main Street in Williamsville. You know what I mean? Getting top dollar for a haircut, and I'm still learning how to cut hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really built my book of business in Williamsville. So I had I have a lot of respect and appreciation for this man. So anyways, as the years went by, I would stop in and again just pay my respects, give him a call. But during COVID, I'd stopped in a little bit more frequently. I had a little bit more time. I think we all did, right? So I'd go in there and just shoot the crap and just catch up, this and that. And I think, it was one of the visits. It might have been before that, actually. My timing could be all off. But more or less, he asked me, hey, why don't you come in and I'll rent you a chair. I go, I'm not looking to rent a chair anymore, And then he said, I'll rent you 2 chairs, 3 chairs. Each conversation, he added on a chair. So it's a 4-chair shop. And finally, I told him, I'm like, listen, if I'm going to rent anything, I'm going to rent the whole shop because we now have 2 shops. So this, I'm not looking to rent a chair no more. We have a full team, an up-and-coming team to staff more places. Long story short, I think it was a very sentimental piece to him, and I don't think he wanted to part ways with the space. And we weren't looking to purchase the space off him. We wanted to lease the space from the floors to the ceiling. More or less come in and rebrand it with Mulino. You walk in there now, it's a very classical barbershop. And then right next door, I've gotten to know the landlord of that building next door, and he's a tailor. And he would see me frequent the shop. So basically, he kind of caught me on my way out one day and said, hey, I have this space that's opening up. So, of course, I met with him, and everything just made sense. So I went back to the original barber, right? And I told him, I go, listen, I just want you to know, I hope we can work something out. And by any means, I wasn't not threatening this guy, but more or less I told him, I said, listen, we're coming to Williamsville one way or another.
Right.
And we hope that it's with you. And, at the end of the conversation, he just couldn't part ways with his space and, giving it, handing it off to somebody else in a totally different brand. And, I was up front. I told him the conversations that were taking place next door. And he was, he was understandable.
It's a business at the end of the day.
It's a business at the end of the day. And he I think his clientele, he understands that his clientele is his clientele, and it's been with him for years, and our clientele is our clientele. You know what I mean? And so, and besides, it keeps it competitive, I think.
Did the town have any issues with 2 different locations and 2 different styles and business models being that close to each other?
No. The town had issues with signage and what signage you were going to put up. That was the issue. But no, they didn't have issues with
Interesting.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you go down Main Street right now in Williamsville, there's a salon every other.
Sure. Well, that's true too.
Head, you know what I mean? So, but no, I think there's 3 barbershops in Williamsville, which is, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But down here in the city, in Buffalo, every corner, every block, there's a barbershop. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I think we're facing here in this industry here in Buffalo, is that oftentimes I think there's more barbershops than barbers. And commercial real estate leases are pretty minute in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was once peak for chair rental, now when I say chair rental, there's 2 ways you can operate in a barbershop or a salon. It's either commission based or it's chair rental based, right? So they may work their way up to what chair rental is, and then they may be disgruntled with the owner or something. Something may just flare them up, and all it takes is them to take a drive through Kenmore and I can have a storefront for $200 more.
Right.
Not realizing what really comes with all that. Not even from the business aspect, insurances and all that stuff. I'm not even, to me, that stuff's pretty easy. But the book of business, the foundation that you need to have in your book of business. Because if you uproot and you relocate, let's just say 20, 30% of your people fall off, you have to have another 20, 30% of people waiting to get in to see you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You have to have that following. But, again, going back to this industry, and I think that's a problem we're facing here in Buffalo right now. Because you have younger guys, aspiring barbers, come out of barber school for a matter of months, a year, and they think they have what it takes to open up a shop, which they may. I'm not taking anything away from them, But from what I noticed over the years, and the shops that are really doing things quite nicely, they've had a book of business that owner or their lieutenants have had a book of business before opening or launching that shop, So it's sad to see, because I would hate to see any aspiring barbers open up a shop and then fail miserably. You know what I mean? That's where I'm going with all this.
I got you.
Do you take the book of business of somebody that you're looking to bring in into consideration when you're looking to staff up a new place? Like, how many clients do you normally have, and how many, do you ever think about that and how that would transition to your business?
Yeah, 100%, all the time. Yeah. Historically, I think we were pretty focused. Now, keep in mind, we're obviously a younger company. I'd still consider us in our infancy, even though we have 4 locations and over 30 people that work for the brand. But we're still young. We're still trying to find our rhythm. But I would say year 1, I was pretty adamant on finding established barbers to come in with a book of business. So yeah, I mean, we really looked into that pretty deeply before bringing somebody on. I can't say that's the case so much anymore. I mean, if there was an established barber that came to us and said, hey, I really like what you guys are doing with the brand, the vision, so on and so forth, of course we're going to look into that. But I don't think those are the people we're seeking out anymore, truthfully.
Gotcha.
So let's talk about the name, and because there's people that aren't from Buffalo that have no clue, that listen to our show. So describe everything like you're describing it to someone from Mars that knows absolutely nothing.
Okay. So yeah, Il Mulino means the mill in Italian. Excuse me. I really associate it with the verbs that are associated with the mill: cut, grind, crush. I mean, we're cutting hair. We have a clothier in house that's cutting cloth. We're crushing ice. We're grinding coffee. And the one way that Google uses the mill in a sentence is people milled about the room shaking hands, going back to the community thing. So, and besides, I wanted to create something. I wanted to come up with a name that would make you take a second look, or like, what was that? What did you say? What does that mean? Where is that? And then the questions go from there, and then further describing who we are and what we got going on.
That's crazy, because I do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
What is this? Yeah.
I was so lost, man.
And
I was so lost.
We did not want to be your stereotypical barbershop or Frank's barbershop.
Yeah.
No offense to any Franks out there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody puts their name on there and puts barbershop at the end of it, and they think they've reinvented the wheel or something. You know what I mean? So I just, one thing that we're trying to do with Il Mulino is that we're trying to, one, elevate the barbershop and salon experience, and we're trying to bridge the gap from traditional barbering to modern day barbering and styling, more or less. And that's what I want Il Mulino to be known for.
Man, that's fascinating. So off question super quick, because now I'm like real curious. When you look at new client, new guy walks in, sits in the chair, and you look at this dude's dome, and you're like, I can do A, B, and C. Like, just off experience, you can come up with something. You're not necessarily selling the idea to the client. In lack of better terms, you kind of are, just because you're like, hey, we could do this. I know you're used to this. Have that conversation. But is it more times than not the customer sits there and tells you what typically gets done to their hair, and then you make recommendations over time, and that's kind of the cultivating piece? Or is it, we should do this because of these issues with your hair? Has that ever happened?
Yeah, so more times than not, I would say 90% of the time, people come in and they always reference what they've always gotten done, because that's all they know, right?
Okay.
So if you go to a salon, they've been cutting your hair for 10 years. I mean, you're going to say, oh, number 2 on the sides, box it off in the back, finger length up top, so on and so forth. I got this colic in the back. It's really springy, so on and so forth. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. I mean, you hear it all too often. It's ingrained in our heads. But yeah, I mean, the way I look at it and the way I operate and the way I teach all of our staff and team is that, listen, they are coming to us for a reason. So we're not here to give them the same haircut that they've gotten for the last 10 years. They are here because they've heard about us and they want our expertise and our touch on this haircut. So to a degree, I'll ask them what they get, but more or less it's how they style it. And then from there on, I then teach the guys, okay, you know how he wants to style it, do the rest.
Yeah. That's an interesting point of how they style it, because sometimes, like, even with my hair, I style it one way, but previously that's not how it was cut. Right. But that's just how I style it. So now it's just getting to that point where the cut is now matching the way that I style it.
Right.
That's really interesting. I didn't think about it that way.
So, for instance, like, there's guys that get squared off in the back or rounded out in the back, right? So one thing that I teach the guys here is that we don't ask that, because in the art of barbering, there's a lot of emphasis on fading, right? So more times than not, we're doing a taper on somebody's neck. Now, you may not know what a taper is, so you're automatically going to steer away from a taper because you don't know what that is, right? Why would you get something that you don't know what it is, right? So you're going to say squared off in the back. But unless they specify, they're always getting a taper when they're leaving. But again, they're coming to us for our artistic abilities. And then when they leave here, like, oh yeah, you faded. When they come back 2-3 weeks, a month later, yeah, that fade you did in the back, my fiance really liked that. You know what I mean? So it's like something new to them. Like, yeah, man, that's a taper,
Yeah.
And then you're educating them as you go along.
Tapering's where it's at. It's so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. So when you were a kid, another random question. When they're like, put your head down, and then you drop your head, and then they take like the real fine, and then they just do they get rid of the neck hair, and then they basically prepared to taper the back.
Right.
Was that like your favorite part of the haircut? Because it basically puts you to sleep? Because that's mine. That's like the go-to. That's the reason I keep getting haircuts.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the best feelings ever, right? 'Cause it just puts you to sleep. You're just, do it again. I think you missed the hair. You know what I mean? Keep going over here too.
Yeah.
But what was the question? Sorry, we got carried away on that.
Is that kind of what got you into, like, maybe one day I want to do this, just because you liked one aspect of a haircut when you were a kid?
Honestly, no. I think going back, and I was just thinking about this the other day, but I've always viewed myself as being a little bit more fashion forward than I guess the rest. But keep in mind, I'm from Gowanda, so I mean, it didn't really take much.
Dude, when you said you were from Gowanda, that made almost no sense to me.
Nobody ever believes that,
Yeah.
And more times than not, I always say the Ellicottville area, because then again, I find myself explaining where the hell Gowanda is, and I don't want to spend 15 minutes out of this 30-minute appointment explaining on where Gowanda is. I'd rather learn and get to know you, and when we're going to rebook you, you know what I mean, so on and so forth, and how we can perfect your hair. But yeah, I think going back to kind of having a taste for like style and trends and variations of clothing is what really sparked my interest with like hair, grooming, self-care.
Yeah, because you can compliment. It's a massive piece of the pie.
Yeah.
If everything up top is trash, but you wear nice clothes, it's just like, what happened?
Right.
Like, just finish that.
Right. 100%. So I think that I think that's what really sparked it for me. And just watching like barbers from like Europe and major cities, maybe Toronto, LA, New York, and watching these individuals like, wow, like, yeah, they're on top of everything as far as like fashion goes and the latest trends and styles. So, that really piqued my interest.
What is it like studying a new hair style that comes out? Because I feel like this part thing has been going on for a little bit too long, and there's going to be something coming down.
Yeah, so I think the side part, truthfully, I don't think that will ever leave. No,
it's a gentleman cut, man.
Yeah, I think it's such a classic, like, gentleman's cut. It's so timeless. And, I mean, going back to, like, the 40s and 50s, I mean, think about it. Everybody was in a suit, right? They always had these, like, Princeton-style haircuts, either, slick back, side part, so on and so forth. So I don't ever think they'll leave. And, even, like, back in, like, maybe the 70s and 80s when like longer hair was a thing, there was still your gentleman out there rocking a side part somewhere in a suit, you know what I mean? It may have been a little bit longer side part, but there was still a side part. But how do we keep up with it? Honestly, just a lot of the hair industry is led by like Europe. Like, yeah, there's some like UK guys out there that are crushing it. So they are really like I pay a lot
pioneers.
I mean, I pay a lot of homage to those guys out there. I mean, they are setting the standards amongst hair. It hits there first, then it hits over here last. And by the time we hit it, it hits us. They're onto something else right now. You know what I mean? And we're always like a step behind.
So what are they doing now?
Well,
like an easy example that would make sense.
To the faux hawk.
Yeah, I mean, you do see that, I think nowadays, I don't think there's anything out there that's like, oh, wow, like, can't believe that's in right now.
Right.
I mean, you see we see a lot of mullets.
I know, Theo Von's taking off, too.
Yeah.
No free shout-outs, but everyone wants to look like Theo for no reason.
Those molds are coming back like crazy.
They really are, but right now, there's a lot, actually longer styles are making their way back, truthfully. And I think during the pandemic, a lot of people grew their hair out, and maybe their like significant others were like, oh, I like your hair like that. And now they're growing it out. Now they're doing their due diligence at home before they go to sleep, and they're like looking at a haircut that was done in London, and they want that. You know what I mean? But I think prior to that, cropped cuts. So basically it's going to be a short texturized cut. Think of like a bowl cut almost. Not exactly like a bowl cut, but like a bowl up really short, right? So basically you wear it forward, extremely texturized, and you can wear it like extremely messy, but yet uniform. So it's just bridging the gap between it.
That's wild.
Yeah. I wish I had my phone in front of me to show you guys. But I mean, there's some really cool styles. Yeah. And again, they're uniform. So you could throw on a suit and nobody's going to look at it like, wow, this guy just rolled out of bed. They don't look like that. You know what I mean? So
that's fascinating. Now, products are key, right? So you mentioned your tools being like buy once, cry once, but you'll have it forever. Now, when you work with different brands and getting their products in, are you very particular on who you want inside of your business, or?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we want a good hair product, right? That's going to complement all of the haircuts and styles that we're doing and we're delivering, but to kind of coexist with Mulino, we want a brand that's going to represent Mulino as well, where it's just, like you said, when you walked into Mulino, you were almost like shocked and like, oh, wow, this is bougie. Now, I don't want to, but a brand that represents that as well. So when they go home and it looks nice on their shelf, so on and so forth, but it also does the job with their, what these people and what we're looking for it to do,
Okay.
So.
Do you make your own product?
Do we? No.
Okay.
How do you get the product? Do you just reach out to them and say, hey, I own a place and I just want to have you on my shelf? Like, how's that work? Yeah,
so more times than not, they're reaching out to us unless you hear of like a more underground product that's like up and coming.
Okay.
Then you'll reach out to them and just kind of see what they're about. And more times than not, a lot of these companies will send you a sample.
Okay.
But I mean, they're a dime a dozen, man. Like,
are they?
Yeah, you can find, a pomade on every shelf from every various maker and a clay and so on and so forth. So
I still have zero idea what the difference is between all that. Do you know, like pomade and all that stuff?
Well, I'm familiar with like KMS, and I believe they're out of California, but it's a gel, and it's like the the Fusion shaving cream that you use, and it comes out like a gel, and then when you actually
it turns,
sounds like a mousse.
Then it becomes like a foam paste, and you're like, what is this? Well, the very first part of that is what that is.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a gel that stays very liquidy the entire time. Then there's another, clay is just different. I'm not super familiar with that.
Yeah,
but then
clay?
there's also hair gel that's kind of like a mousse, and that it just kind of dissipates inside your hair. It's weird.
Yeah, so like a clay versus like pomade, gel, mousse.
Okay.
So those three are going to give you shine, right? And there's different levels of shine within each brand and model within that brand and so on and so forth. But more times than not, a clay is going to give you a very natural look. Matte finish, more or less.
Gotcha. But still with the hold?
Still with a hold and give you, the hold that you're
I think we both do shine then.
I mean.
Yeah. Because every time we gel our hair, it's just like, it looks wet all day.
Yeah.
But it's very rare to have a gel that basically looks dry but holds.
So when do you guys apply the product? Like
after a shower.
Is it like a good towel dry? Are you blow drying, or is your hair still wet?
Just a towel, and then there's like it's damp.
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna.
Is that wrong?
Well, no, it's not wrong. It's just preference, really. But that's gonna complement the shine. That's gonna enhance the shine if your hair is damp.
What do you do?
Blow dry it.
Blow dry.
Do you?
Yeah.
You do too?
Sometimes, if I'm getting all bougied up, then I do.
Damn, I gotta learn.
Yeah. There's a lot. So one thing this is kind of
I'm real behind.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, kind of another pathway away from our discussion right now. But wearing hats, I've heard multiple times that no, it does not. Okay, gotcha. So for everybody, I think that is a rumor with hats that it makes you lose your hair quicker.
Yeah, I think that is baloney. Absolutely baloney.
It's $75 baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Right? No, I think it's baloney. I mean, I think people are just destined to lose their hair if they're going to lose their hair, Like myself, I have a receding hairline, but if you look back on baby pictures of mine, it's the same hairline. Like it was like Benjamin Button, right? Like I came out and I had like this crazy widow's peak, but to this day I still have the same widow's peak, and I still have a full head of hair. But people when they look at me, they're like, "Oh, you're receding." And it's okay. Like I don't even get in that debate with them. You know what I mean? Because more times than not, when the people that are receding, they're trying to talk themselves out of their hair not receding. But,
yeah, they're in denial.
Yeah, but there's actually things you can pick up on when servicing somebody, and you can see like, okay, this guy doesn't have much longer. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's sad. Like thinning, like it thins out.
Yeah, but it's not so much in like the front, which more times than not, people think it's in the front. There's actually another way you can like check. It's actually lies in the back of your head. So basically, there's like this little strip that will start to form where it becomes extremely light in the back of your head. So basically, your parietal ridge, right? Parietal ridge, and then back here. So beneath all that hair, you'll see like a patch that's maybe like 2 inches, and it's significantly thinner than the rest. And more times than not, when you notice that, those guys aren't like, it's downhill from there.
I feel like I gotta check now.
I didn't know any of that. How'd you learn that?
Well, I don't even know if it's in a book anywhere. It's just something that I've cut so many people.
You just observed it.
Observed it. I'm like, okay. And I started noticing them. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then next thing you know, like within months or a year, like that person's not coming in anymore because they're like probably buzzing their own head, you know?
Damn.
And again, I don't think this information lives anywhere. And who knows? I'd like to know if there's another barber that has spotted that.
Yeah.
But, you know, everybody's so worried about their hairline being like,
yeah.
My hairline is not, you know what I mean? It's just, it's what it is.
It's tough to get that. Like, very few people have that straight across hairline.
Right.
I don't even know if I'd want it. I don't know. I'd feel like it kind of limits you too. Like from a style standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, you know, various hairlines just give various characteristics to like a cut, depending on the cut and style. You know what I mean?
Then you have to deal with the head shape too, because head shape matters.
Yeah, 1,000%. But I mean,
that's why I'm picky.
Right. So for the people that are like worried about their receding hairline, and if it is in fact receding, I mean, there's cuts and styles out there that you can like, you would never know that you're receding, right? It's just going to the people that are knowledgeable on hair to give you that desired look. So
it's crazy. Yeah, so you got to start blow drying your hair now.
Yeah. Off camera, we'll talk about like real quick. Just be like, this is how you should do it.
Well, I'll give you a quick 10 seconds. So
go ahead.
Blow dryer, right? So fresh out of the shower, good towel dry. A blow dryer is going to help like set your hair, puts your hair in a position more or less.
Trains it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't even say trains it. It just puts it in a position, right? Sets it, and then the product comes in and holds it in a position.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
But then there's a process within that process too. So if you're blow drying your hair, you don't want to do it at full heat the entire duration of like you drying your hair. You want to start cooling it down as time goes on, because next thing you know, you almost want to freeze like your hair cuticles.
Yeah.
And then also like if your hair was like extremely hot from a very good blow dryer, and then you apply product, it's going to melt the product. Now the product's not doing what it was designed to do. So I mean, there's levels within levels, right? But more or less. Yeah.
We got a lot to learn.
I know, but it's a great trip through Inception. Yeah. So shower, quick towel dry.
Blow dry,
product, get out the house.
Go.
Crush it.
Good all day long.
Okay. All right.
So you have 30 employees now, you said? So
just over 30, yeah.
How many, does that include apprentices?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what is that apprenticeship like, and how can somebody that is maybe listening and they do like hair or something like that they want to get into barbering join that apprentice program?
Yeah, so through us or just in general?
Let's do through you guys, even if you do offer that. I don't know if you...
Yeah, we do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we definitely do, yeah. So actually going off of the apprenticeship program, so there's a few different things that we offer, right? So I personally offer one-on-one training for aspiring barbers, right? Basically, these individuals can come into me, and maybe they're good at fading, but they're not good at scissor cuts. So I'll have these individuals come in and we'll do a one-on-one, or maybe it's a smaller class, it's a smaller group, maybe 3 to 5 people, so on and so forth, right? And depending on what they're looking to get out of that class, so I personally do that. Then I also offer like mentoring for like aspiring barbers and I guess barbershop and salon owners on how to grow their book of business. And I guess first retain your book of business, because my biggest thing is we have to retain what we currently have before we can build. We're not going to build a new book of business every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, so on and so forth. But I guess second to all that, we do have an apprenticeship program, and then we have a student program as well. And then final, we are actually gearing up with our legal counsel to legitimize ourselves as a school with New York State. So basically, we can expedite the process. If one wanted to come on and become a master barber, we could get it done in a condensed amount of time as opposed to a 2-year apprenticeship program. But going back to your question, if anybody was interested in becoming an apprenticeship or apprentice barber, I should say, and be a part of the apprenticeship program, you would just reach out to us, and then you more or less come in and we would interview you in a way, because again, we're looking to bring on good people.
Sure.
That's our biggest driver for us. And we go from there and see if it's a fit. And then we kind of just tailor a schedule that's specific to you and your personal and professional needs. Because more times than not, people that want to get involved in the apprenticeship program, they have a full-time job or a part-time gig elsewhere, or family, so on and so forth. But you know what? It doesn't even have to be that they're interested in hair. Maybe they could just have some sort of artistic abilities. Maybe they're good with their hands, or maybe they're artists, or they like to draw, or maybe they are fashion-forward. You know what I mean? So I think all those things would really encompass, all that stuff would really, I think, be the driving force for for somebody that would want to get involved with hair.
Sure.
A lot of people come in. We have apprentices. We have people now working for the brand. They're like, when I first had these initial conversations with people, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to cut hair," or "I could never cut hair. I could never do what you do." So, but here they are today, and some of these guys are, full-time professionals in corporate America that are just about to take the leap with Mulino and go full-time with us.
That's awesome.
So,
that's really cool. So now, clients coming in that want to get their hair cut, where can they find you? How can they reach out to get haircuts done?
So me personally, or the brand? So me personally, I don't really accept new clients unless they're referred in from my book of business.
Sure.
More times than not. So I operate 4 days out of the week currently. That would be Wednesday through Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, I kind of treat as a admin day / training day with some of our more junior guys. But you can find me on our website, which is weareilmulino.com. There's a booking link through there, which we're paired up with Squire, which actually is a Buffalo-based company. They're still in their infancy. You wouldn't guess that because I think at the end of the year they're expected to be evaluated at like $2 billion.
Jesus.
Yeah. So we've worked with them hand in hand. Great company. So yeah, you can find us on Squire or our website, or you can call the shop. So
that's it.
And then all of your barbers are linked to your social media too, right? So they can go check out kind of what barber fits there more.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I advise pretty much everybody to really create a separate account for their hair business, and it just separates like the conversations in the chair. You know what I mean? I mean, somebody maybe have different interests than the guy you're servicing.
Right.
I mean? So it just creates for, I guess, good habits down the road. And,
sure.
Yeah, just a better relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But yeah.
And your Instagram is what again?
My Instagram is Jared Wayne White.
Okay. And then the shop Instagram is just Il Mulino?
Yeah, so we have a few accounts associated with Il Mulino. The reason being is because we have various departments throughout Il Mulino. So I mean, thus far it's been primarily driven by hair, but we have a bar account. So the hair account is going to be Il Mulino Hair, then Il Mulino Bar.
Gotcha.
And then we have Il Mulino Academy. So.
Jeez.
That's amazing.
Well, it's just kind of pertaining to what we're looking to get into and expand into. I mean, we have some really cool stuff on the horizon. I just mentioned the schooling. So, I mean, we're in that process right now with our legal counsel and legitimizing ourselves with the state to expedite the process. Past that, at our Williamsville location, we're actually getting into cosmetic medicine. So basically that's going to be injectables, Botox, fillers, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Wow.
So just going back to self-care, I think, again, it all started with the hair, but as we come in and we conquer hair, my appetite for the brand and the business continues to grow, and my wheels continue to spin on how we're going to get involved in different industries and, I guess, quote-unquote, departments, and what more can we offer these people that are coming in.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, you just want everybody to look pretty.
Yeah, more or less, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude.
So,
that's huge.
And I understand, right now, everybody is so in tune with their appearance, whether it's clothing or cosmetic medicine or hair or eyebrows and eyelashes and nails and gyms, you know what I mean?
Much, yeah.
So it's crazy because you got people in corporate America that care so much, and then you got like your Adam Sandlers that just wear basketball shorts, and they just.
I saw that recently.
Yeah, so I just incredible. Like laugh at it because that's so true. But there's so many people that are like that. But then you also get like a Shia LaBeouf, where it looks like an Adam Sandler, but it's got the same intent and focus and drive as someone that's focused and lives in Europe, where it's like everything's based on a shape. Yep. You're like, what are you talking about? And then you actually look at his outfit and you're like, oh, dude, that whole thing's like based on a circle.
Yeah.
Like, it's fascinating that he can group it like that. Yeah. But there's so much to fashion that it just doesn't, I don't know. Then you got like your Cam Newtons, where it's just a whole different spectrum of style. But at the end of the day, everybody looks good. Right. So, and they're confident in it.
Yeah. My fiance, she actually she went to school for like fashion and like merchandise and design and all that. So it's kind of cool that like at home go home after a long day and we're both talking about like the latest trends and styles and she just eats up the whole Il Mulino thing and she loves it. She's actually going to be she's actually working for the brand currently. She just recently started.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's a store manager by day. Then we put her through a microblading course, so she will be offering microblading soon at our Williamsville location.
That's
the semi-permanent tattoo of the eyebrow.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So,
wow.
So yeah, pretty cool.
It's crazy.
And not to mention with her, I obviously got to pay some credit to her right now, but she has a lot of management experience, and I think that would tie in nicely for the brand.
For sure.
Yeah, on the women's side of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time. We're just about at an hour, so we want to be conscious of your time as well. But thank you for sitting down and talking with us. I mean, the Il Mulino brand in general is just so awesome because you're doing everything, and it really hasn't been done before in the area. So it's
at all.
Yeah, we just wanted to sit down and pick your brain a little bit. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I thought I was going to be nervous, but I feel like we were just getting started. Truthfully, I didn't.
Right.
I know.
Tell me about it.
I know.
Didn't even know it's been an hour, but yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, inviting me on the show. And if there's any way I can help you guys for the future, don't hesitate. If that's fellow business owners you guys want to interview, I'm sure I'd love to do that introduction or bridge the gap between you guys. So.
Sure. Cool. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're launching a membership program here soon.
Oh, really?
For all of Il Mulino. And so there's 3 tiers to it, right? And then the highest tier, there's actually a fun piece in there. It's pretty much it's exclusive partnership rates. Now, by any means, we don't want to make it seem like we're a coupon book, right?
Right.
But basically, we've had a lot of individuals that come in, either they sit in my chair or the fellow team's chair, and they may look at the bar and be like, oh, who did the marble top? Who designed your space? Who did this? Who did that? So on and so forth. Now, historically, I have no problem. I have no issue whatsoever circulating business. I've always done that, right? But now, if you're part of this program, now you can go to these various establishments and have preferred treatment going there. But we try to associate ourselves with people that have similar brands with Il Mulino.
Sure.
So that boutique,
so cool.
That boutique brand, and just customer service. That's really where we've gotten to where we're at today. Is that's one thing I take a lot of pride on, and I should say would be customer service. So.
Yeah, it's how you retain people.
100%.
That's it.
So.
Well, good deal.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Everybody go check them out, Il Mulino on Instagram, and then go book a haircut and figure out what they're all about because this place is sick.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.